Thank you for spending another midweek moment with the Wisconsin Property Taxpayers. I'm Paul Rozeski. Today is Wednesday, August the 12th, 2026. If you stayed up last night watching Wisconsin's primary results, congratulations. You now know that losing track of flash drives is the creative new way Milwaukee looks incompetent at counting votes. This week we're looking at two races, two enormous piles of campaign money, two sets of wildly inaccurate polls, and endorsements that make less sense the longer that you stare at them. Then we'll finish with a time-tested and very popular quote from a founding father about the two things in life we actually can predict. So, lots to get to. Let's jump into some news together. And let's start where I left off last week when I said that Michigan and Wisconsin Democrats might be writing two of the biggest political underdog stories of a generation. Well, they wrote something. In Michigan, the advertising supporting Congresswoman Haley Stevens and attacking Abdul El-Sayed reportedly approached $65 million. Spending for El-Sayed was about $7.5 million. That's a difference of nearly 9-1. If money decided elections, Stevens would have won comfortably, but polling predicted the opposite. One Emerson poll put El-Sayed ahead by 15 points. Another survey had him ahead by 19 points. If the polls decided elections, El-Sayed would have won comfortably. He ended up winning by less than 1 point. So, the money and establishment backing suggested a Stevens blowout. The polling suggested a progressive challenger, El-Sayed, would win in a blowout. And the voters produced a photo finish. Got it? Good, because we might have a trend here. In Wisconsin, David Crowley jumps back in the race and raises $778,000. Francesca Hong, with a full fundraising period, raised about $338,000. That's less than half. If money decided elections, Crowley had a massive edge, but the polling predicted the opposite. One State Navigate poll had Hong leading Crowley 44-15. The final Marquette poll had Hong at 38% and Crowley at 7%. 38-7. If the polls decided elections, Hong would have won in a blowout, but ended up losing by less than half a point. So, tell me if this sounds like deja vu. The money and establishment backing suggested Crowley would get a blowout. The polling suggested the progressive challenger Hong would win by a blowout, and the voters produced a photo finish. All in the matter of 8 days. I'll tell you one thing, I'm going to grab my popcorn and sit back on Thursday. I'll be listening to a panel of experts try to explain what in the holy heck is going on. Poor Charles Franklin from the Marquette Law School poll is going to have to own it. How much his results are disconnected from reality. Granted, 34% of the people were still undecided, so it gives him wiggle room that they all might have shifted, but still, he's in the same boat as every other pollster right now. Even if there was one that could tell you which way was up, I'd probably get a second opinion. In other related news, if you thought none of that makes sense, you just wait. Let's talk about who did and didn't endorse people in these races. First, Bernie Sanders. He's been in Congress for 35 years, which makes him seem like part of the establishment, yet he ran as a progressive outsider against establishment-endorsed Hillary Clinton, so he's kind of a unicorn that way. Anyway, Sanders, he endorsed El-Sayed and campaigned with him in Michigan. But when asked about Hong, he said he was focused on Senate and House races and wasn't getting involved in Wisconsin's race for governor. Is that weird, or is that just me? Why wouldn't Bernie try to give a boost to the progressive movement in a state where He beat Hillary Clinton in the 2016 presidential primary and pulled 31% against establishment Joe Biden in 2020. Obviously, there's a fair slice of Wisconsin that loves them some Bernie. So really, why not? How hard would it have been to stand in front of a microphone or a camera or both and say, I endorse Francesca Hong for governor? That seemed easy to me. So what exactly am I missing here? And because apparently this needed to get stranger, let's pull something out of the you can't make this stuff up file. In other news, endorsement number 2, let's peek back into Michigan now that the primary is over and El Said has won. Kamala Harris, aka the Anointed One, the poster child of getting backing from the establishment, endorsed the candidate that was so non-establishment he got outraced 9-1. That's about as ironic as you can get, but that's not even the funniest part, because she didn't endorse until the day after the primary. Wow, talk about going out on a limb there. Endorse somebody after they've already won. Anyway, Sanders backs the outsider progressive in Michigan, but not the outsider progressive in Wisconsin. Harris stays out of the Michigan primary that jumps on the bandwagon once the votes are counted. Meanwhile, Tony Evers and his establishment endorses Crowley. Crowley goes from 7% in a poll to winning the nomination. Does the Evers endorsement help sway the 34% that were undecided, or at least get people to actually half pay attention to what the candidates stand for because he kind of stirred the pot? Who knows? But you know one way we could definitively have an answer? Get someone to do a poll. But seriously, money mattered until it didn't. Polling captured something, just not what it was looking for. Endorsement mattered somewhere to somebody, but not in any pattern I can explain. And with a straight face, and now, election consultants have become the main characters in The Emperor's New Clothes. They'll protect their industry with word salad explaining why everything that just happened was perfectly reasonable and predictable. What choice do they have if they ever want to get another job? Thanks to the will of the people and the backbone of our democracy, this primary was anything but predictable, and it gives me hope as much as it frightens me. And finally, after a full episode of irony and uncertainty, I give you some concrete universal truth from the founding father, inventor, diplomat, printer, and taxpayer, Benjamin Franklin, who wrote in 1789, and I quote, "Our new Constitution is now established and has an appearance that promises permanency. But in this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes." Have a great second half of your week, and as always, thanks for listening. Wisconsin Property Taxpayers Inc. is a nonpartisan membership organization consisting of thousands of small business, farm, and homeowner members in every poll-defying corner of the state. Founded in 1985, the organization is committed to providing its members with up-to-date information, legislative advocacy, and exclusive cost-saving benefits. Find out how to join at WPTOnline.org/join.